365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
Top 5 scenarios for Caleb Williams. And a couple of these are kind of dark horses.
You check with his father?
Yeah, I didn't. I'm just throwing out what... If he's going to... And we talked about this yesterday when the story broke. A better situation than Oklahoma, there's not that many of them out there. Especially to go like... if Alabama didn't have a quarterback coming back next year, or Ohio State, like this would make this top 5 a little easier to wiggle through. But considering both those guys are Heisman candidates and coming back, if you're Caleb Williams, I know you're confident, but you're not going to go there. They don't need you, and they're not going to call. But there's other situations, but it just to be better than Oklahoma it's just tough to figure out. So a couple of these are kind of wild guesses here, or just based on being up-and-comers or where they are right now, and then some of them are legit. All right, number 5, Texas A&M. This is the one that would be the most wild outside of it, but they've got a lot of young talent. They're certainly building towards something. Caleb Williams should help put them over the top, but I don't know if what they've lost this year compared to what they've got coming in as freshmen kind of offsets each other and makes Caleb Williams really want to go there, but they're certainly a team that appears to be on the rise. But it doesn't make sense why you would go from Oklahoma to there to me, other than the fact that you would really like
this is
Jimbo
all
or
about
something.
you being raised an Aggie.
No, because I get why you would say that, but I'm just trying to look at who's got a quarterback that's potentially opening that would fit, and A&M is one of those.
Okay.
It would make sense. Honestly, it would. What are we getting excited about? Haynes King?
Yeah.
They've got good quarterbacks, on paper, but nobody that's proven anything at this point. So he'd be better, on paper than anybody they've had or have currently. So, I wouldn't put it past the Aggies to put a sales pitch together. They're as involved in NIL as anybody else is, So I could definitely see them. And then Jimbo's, the quarterback whisperer and all that jazz. So, I wouldn't think that they're probably like the most likely, but I would not be surprised at all if they got involved.
Yeah. Number 4 would be Michigan. Look, I know that they've got a kid whose name I forget. He wears number 9, McCarthy. That is there for next year to take over for Cade McNamara. But you're telling me that you're going to tell Caleb Williams no to go to Michigan, and that's a team that was just in the CFP.
Yeah, he'd be better than who they have, but I don't know. The whole Harbaugh and the NFL rumors thing, again, is just so stupid. That seems like to be a yearly thing now at this point. And I don't know, man. I've not been impressed with their quarterback play, and I just feel like if you're Caleb Williams, I don't know that Jim Harbaugh is the guy that's really going to best explore your style of play. I think you are more of a Lincoln Riley type of cat, more of a Jeff Lebby, more of a, that kind of deal than as opposed to a Michigan offense. But yeah, they could definitely use him. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And if they're not in the CFP, I probably wouldn't even put them in this top 5.
Fair enough.
But they were. Number 3, return to Oklahoma, which seems less likely now that Dylan Gabriel is there, which is why I didn't put this as number 1. I think, he should have probably returned to Oklahoma. I get one to go and test the waters, but I think that, to me, is the right now at this point the 3rd most likely scenario. But Dylan Gabriel's there, and that might push this completely off the board.
Yeah, I don't think he's scared of Dylan Gabriel.
But no, I think Dylan Gabriel going there makes me think that they don't think that,
It seems like a sign. If anything, it's just security. But, it definitely seems like a bit of a sign. But, I think he would do well in a Jeff Lebby run offense. I think he'd throw for a lot of yards and run for a lot of yards and probably light up some scoreboards. The one thing I would say is I don't know. I guess Matt Corral will now prove of how proven that style is. But outside of that, there's been a lack of NFL prove it with quarterbacks in that system. So maybe that's something that detractors could use against them. But I'm sure if they don't know already, Oklahoma's going to do everything in their power to try to keep him. I think it's very low odds. Just my hunch, that's all. But I would love to see him return in crimson and cream.
I think if he was going to return this, we wouldn't be talking about this. I mean, and then Dylan Gabriel just makes me lean that much more in the other direction. Number 2 would be Georgia. Why not? I know they've got the Vandegrift kid there, right? And that's probably going to be the guy next year. But again, proven commodity over what you haven't seen yet.
Near home. from D.C., right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, kind of. Yeah, Washington, D.C. and Georgia is not that close.
Closer than anywhere else he
Closer
would
than
probably
USC is from Washington, D.C.
Well, it's not Yokohama College. I mean, it is on the East Coast, but I don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, this one seems like it's just like, why the hell not? So, okay. Yeah, I mean, based on that, why the hell not? Yeah, I could see Georgia. It's only a 9.5-hour drive from Georgia to Washington, D.C. But,
A lot closer than Norman.
Yeah, no, it is. But, I mean, they're a top team. They'll attract, if they're looking and scouring the market for a quarterback, I'm sure it won't be hard to land one. But, sure, he would definitely, be a great get for Georgia.
And number one, and look, let's face it, this is where he's going. He's going to play for Lincoln Riley, who he would have walked down to play for. And then the next thing is Jackson Dart's going to go in the transfer portal. But he's going to USC. That's where he's going. That's where I think he's going. I think that's where the world thinks he's going. But USC makes the most sense for him. If Lincoln Riley got nobody else that was coming to see him, that he had crossed paths with before.
He could be there next season, and then 1 year under Malachi Nelson can marinate underneath of him, and then be ready by the time Caleb Williams turns pro, unless he transfers again.
Yeah. So.
All right.
USC seems like the place. I mean, it does. It seems like the place, and I know they've got Jackson Dart or whatever, and they've got probably other guys they could look at. But I mean, he knows the offense. We know what little he already showed, and they were just scratching the surface of what he could actually do. So that seems to me, LA, NIL, USC seems like they're opening up the wallet to go big over the next few years. Obviously, they did that with the Lincoln Riley move. So a lot of coaches he would just be rejoining. And wouldn't blame him. I mean, if that's where he ends up, it makes a lot of sense, and that's where I would put my money right now. Would be on the Trojans for Caleb Williams.
All right, thank you very much, Armstrong Sims, Jack McKenzie. What?
I got to mention one thing ahead of this LSU bowl game. I have to mention this. This is like crazy stuff, but Bruce Feldman just put out. I was talking about the roster for LSU going into tonight's game, and I was talking about they have like 50 scholarship players. It's from Bruce Feldman 10 minutes ago. In addition to LSU being down to 38 scholarship players tonight, 38 scholarship players, the Tigers will also have mostly analysts as position coaches. That will include at offensive line, running back, wide receiver, linebacker, cornerback, and tight end. And there will also be a GA involved. So just like talk about a shell of themselves. That will be LSU tonight with 38 scholarship players and GAs and analysts running a lot of the position coaching.
Well, Baylor's last game a year ago against Oklahoma State, and they got embarrassed in that game. They had like half of their staff was COVID and couldn't be a part of it, and they had a guy, Juice Johnson, was running the offense or whatever. It happens. It's unfortunate. It just seems like it's reared its head again, and we'll see what happens. Again, the Baylor women's